wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky!
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
California dreaming.
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kim cast. It's me, Rojan Kim.
West Coast shit.
For joining me on this lovely 15th of April. Bum, bum, bum. It's Wednesday. It's tax day, or it was tax day. I guess big old monkey wrench into the old IRS's tax schemes, trying to take our money. Taxation is theft. They're coming after us. Ha! Pandemic. Ha! Gotcha. Ha! I don't know what I'm saying. This is the first time, 2020 is a year where, for the first time, death is actually more certain than taxes. Huh? How's that? All right. Well, I guess we got till July. I already paid my taxes like a goddamn idiot. Why did I do that? I was all trying to be like, I'm gonna be, you know, I got all my tax forms at the beginning of February. I was like, yeah, I had no idea pandemic was coming. Fucking paid my taxes, you know, what's next? I'm gonna pay my student loan and then fucking asteroid hits, you know? What a waste of money that would be. Wouldn't that be a huge, like, imagine you paid off your student loan and then the next day is an asteroid hits and you're like, God damn it, I should have bought gold. I should have bought like guns and gold is what I should buy instead of paying off this stupid debt. You know, paying off the debt is sort of like saying that, yeah, I think this whole system is going to stay around. And I guess on a long enough timeline, everything's going to go down, right? Everything's going to go down to zero. Nothing survives. So, I mean, it's hard to know which way to go in all this because odds are I don't live on a long enough timeline to see that. But when you live right at the edge of something like an empire falling, you might just, I mean, it has to happen in someone's lifetime, right? I mean, I'm sure the process is also a long process, right? The idea of this decline, the idea of the empire changing, right? Things changing. Paradigm shifts. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. What is this kind of, I'm trying to be more focused in the subjects of these podcasts since I'm doing them more often. Here's the thing. I'm going to be honest. I mean, this is episode 150, so I've done 150 of these. This is not including Model Minority Moment, which used to be my old podcast, which I think I did like 50 or so episodes of, or whatever. That was during the first big old, just like Joe Rogan, listening to Joe Rogan, just juiced up about, I'm going to fucking podcast, I'm going to do comedy, and I'm going to do jujitsu. And here I am, it's 2020, 9 years later, and only one of those is left remaining. Podcasting's the only one I can do right now. I can't do jujitsu. I can't do stand-up. I'm only 1/3 Rogan, you know what I'm saying? I'm only a third of the Rogies. I used to be all the trifecta. I used to have it all. Used to do it all, man. Now look at me. This goddamn pandemic got me just, I'm a tripod with one leg. I'm a one-legged stool, right? I'm about to fall over. Or maybe I can keep hopping. Yeah. Anyways, paradigm shift. Oh, yeah, I was going to level with you guys. Episode 150. Most of these podcast episodes are just the ramblings of a crazy person. Up to a point, because there's a method to the madness. I guess I would be truly crazy if I had no other intent other than to just say this stuff. You know, it's kind of sad, actually. It kind of implies maybe I have nobody to say this stuff to. I have nobody to talk to, and this is why I started a podcast. And that's not true. Part of why I started this podcast is because I talk too much at home. You know, Rami, God bless her, she has heard all of this a million times before, years ago. You know what I'm saying? She's just like, I don't care about the goddamn paradigm shifts or the population control or whatever it is you're talking about. I'm a human being, you know, and I can only sympathize. One person can only be inflicted with so much, and that's why I'm inflicting all 14 of you. That's right. 14, baby. 14 is the new number, the what I like to call the support level of my listenership, right? That's where it seems to be hovering right now, which is better than 12. That's a nice little boost. It's over 10%. It's almost 20%. It's almost between 10 and 20. That's pretty good. All right? And keep that number going. Maybe by episode 300, I'll get another 2. You know what I mean? And that's still good. Still good. All right? Still good. At this rate, I'll be at episode 300 in a couple months. I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to do 3 a day now, guys. I'm going to do 3 a day. All right. So, God, I just wandered off track again. I was just trying to tell you that this whole podcast was not just the ramblings of a madman. No, the whole point is that I'm a stand-up comedian, goddammit. It wouldn't be funny if this was actually for jiu-jitsu. This is these are conversations I wanted to bring up in jiu-jitsu. No. Look, a lot of this stuff is sort of like pre-open mic stuff. You know what I'm saying? In a way, it's kind of writing. I mean, I write, and then I babble about this stuff, and then I kind of say the stuff out loud, and this stuff kind of makes me laugh, and then I think about it, turn them into Twitter jokes, take it on stage, and then it seems to work then, and then I'll improve it while I do it on stage, and it keeps improving, and it lives, and it breathes, and now I haven't been on stage for over a month, and everything's dying. All my bits are dying. All my bits are dying, but now I have this. This is like the nursery of where the bits come from. The nursery is booming, but nowhere for the bits to go. The bits have nowhere to go. So what happens? It's an oversupply of bits. No demand. Demand is falling. Oversupply. It's like oil. It's like what's going on with oil, guys. That's why gas is so cheap. There's just so much oil, and nobody wants it. And now the shit is crashing, and that is what's happening with my bits, except much less valuable, I would say, in terms of the bits. The bits are not so valuable. The bits are not valuable to the world, but the oil is. And that's why I want to talk to you today about oil. Now, oil is part of what I want to talk to you about. It's about paradigm shifts. Okay? Yes. And, speaking of oil is one of those things. It's an old paradigm. Oil, fossil fuels. We know we got to get rid of them, or at least get off of them. We know we got to do something about it, and we know we can. We've got the technology. We've had the ability to run cars on water since the 70s. We have electric cars. We have all of this is apparent. Little side note: doesn't matter if we have electric cars. The entire grid is run on oil and coal. So we got to change the grid. Okay. We gotta change the grid. I started listening to Mad Money with Jim Cramer, which is I don't know why. I'm now a middle-aged man. I'm officially an old man. I listen to conservative media and financial news. I've subscribed to the Wall Street Journal, and I have my own podcast while I smoke marijuana. Of course, I'm a goddamn boomer now. I'm a boomer, and I have been listening to Steve Bannon's podcast, which, am I a Nazi now? What's going on? I don't know. The guy doesn't seem like a Nazi. The guy just seems like I don't know. Yeah, a guy who was in the Navy in the 70s became a guy just seems like who he is. I mean, really, the guy got Trump elected or whatever, but anyway. The dude saw the pandemic coming a mile away. He's actually part of the reason why I feel like I was ahead of the curve on it. So, I just don't agree with his worldview or his politics or whatever. But whatever, it's entertaining. The thing is entertaining. The thing is, you got to be able to listen to stuff and not be fucking radicalized by it. Just because you listen to something, just because you listen to somebody who has different opinions, just doesn't mean you're gonna become like them. Right? I feel like if you can be radicalized by the internet, you are a weak bitch. You know what I mean? You're prone to be a cult member, right? You're prone to be part of a cult. Have a cult member say, "Hey, you should do this," and then take off your pants too. Then you'll be like, "Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. I'm fucking weak-minded. I don't care. I'll do whatever." I've seen these people. I've seen him firsthand. My ex, Laura, her dad was a cult leader, essentially. Well, he wasn't a cult leader, but I'd say he was more like one of those people who headed a commune, a lot of those hippie communes in California, you know what I mean? And, yeah, he was like a king. He even called himself a king. He had a court, called us, me and his daughter, his jesters, because we were just smoking weed with him and just laughing at all the morons. Because there's like one time, this fucking lady. They're all living on a commune together. These people, they're adults. They're actually, most of them were like tech people, successful people. They just burned out and found comfort in this commune, you know. And this leader, Justin, he was their leader, and his whole thing was like, I'm just a man, you know, I'm not saying I'm anything. And then they all go, wow, he's so fucking amazing because he's like, he admits he's just a man. You know, it's a great scam. He ended up impregnating a couple of them. Definitely fucking a bunch of them, whoever, you know. Anyways, had a whole thing where we're hanging out in his living room, smoking weed, which he had them grew. Anyways, sitting there smoking weed. Somebody comes in, taking out a fan, like an electric fan. And then he was like, hey, why are you taking that fan? And then she was like, well, you know, it was kind of hot and stuff. And then he was like, well, don't you think that other people might need the fan? Like, why are you taking it? And then she was just like, and that just honestly must have been 5 minutes of her. And her husband was there. He was even weaker. He was just like, they were freaking out. We were all, the entire group. There's more than just us, you know, me and Lara and the dad. There's some other randos there too. And there's just eyes. I guess they felt all the eyes on them. I don't know. And I think she just left the fan. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think she just fucking left the fan and walked away because she couldn't just go, I'm hot, I wanted, you know what I mean? Because he broke them down psychologically to question all these things, to question their individuality, right? Because if you have a selfish individual impulse, he made you question it and be like, oh, you're so selfish, you know, why don't you think of the group? Meanwhile, he's not. You know what I mean? He's fucking getting laid, fucking living high off the hog. I mean, they're all paying for the shit. He had like 100 acres or some shit. Anyways, point is, the cult mentality is out there. Cult mentality has been out. I think that's one of the constants we have, right? As human beings, we have been followers, you know. And I think that's one of the reasons why paradigm shifts are so hard, or maybe that's why they're so drastic when they happen, because it's not like humanity as a whole goes like, all right, we are now making the shift from horses to automobiles. Let's all do this orderly. You know, that's just until we become the Borg or the Chinese. You know, even the Chinese can't do it, man. It's too big. It's too big. You can have a smaller country like Singapore. Okay, Singaporeans. Definitely all of them, because it's just one city. It's an island. I can't remember how many millions of people, but it's just like one place. They could all just be like, we are now off oil, all of us. Like, they could do that because they're small enough. There's no fucking way China could do that. You know what I mean? China's as big as the States and it has 1.5 billion people. It's way more, 4 times the amount of people. You think they're going to just switch? You know, trust me, they probably want to, and they're trying to lead the way in solar and alternative energy and shit like that to get off oil, but don't be fucking fooled. They need oil too. You know, how are you gonna fucking change everything? Everything runs on oil. How are you gonna change everything overnight? You're not. It's gonna take generations. It's gonna take 2-3 generations, maybe. It could take maybe 1. Maybe there could be massive upheaval. Maybe that's what's happening now. We don't know. But I think that's what's important to think about, because we are at 2020, right? 2020, 20% into the new century, and we're just now starting to really think about what that means. Like, what the fuck does that mean to be in a new century, right? And I think this pandemic, it's interesting because, you know, besides all the stuff about it being a public health crisis, you know, we know everything. Hospitals overwhelmed. It's a crisis. What's interesting is going to be the aftermath of it and what this pandemic actually does to inform us about the modern world. And in a lot of ways, it's just like the Spanish flu did back in 1918. It changed the world too, and it had a lot to do with the fact that there was a world war going on, you know, and that's why it was a global pandemic, right? This is when people were getting hip to the fucking microscope and the idea of microbes and things like, you know what I mean? Like people alive in 1918 that were like middle-aged, like my age, are growing up in a time where they were like, germs, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? They didn't really, it was more like about miasma. You know, there's like evil waves coming off of things that make you sick, but no actual idea of what microbes were. viruses or bacteria, RNA, DNA, any of that shit, right? Like, we don't know any of that. So, pandemic was the first time we were kind of like, ooh, we're in the 20th century now, right? We got fucking, yeah, we got to use microscopes, we got to get microbes, we got to use, this, that. So now I feel like we're in another situation just like that. Interestingly, a disease brought on by globalism, right? Just like last time. By the Chinese, just like, no, I'm just kidding. But, interestingly enough, the Spanish flu spread by war, by World War I. And that's why, and it was a weird thing that actually affected soldiers. It mutated so that it affected soldiers, men. It's like the opposite of the coronavirus, whereas affecting young men under 40, who are like 18 to 40, basically, and fucking them all up while they're supposed to be fighting this huge war. And they kept the war going. The war kept going till like 1918, 1919. They realized that. I mean, just like now, we got 7 wars going on. Global pandemic. We don't give a fuck. We're probably gonna do another one. We're probably gonna do one against Iran, Venezuela, or China. We have three right now: Iran, Venezuela, China, sort of circling around. We're going to add them to the pile. Might have making 10. 10 wars. 10 wars. We could do it. USA. No, we can fucking do this. Anyways, here we are. We are in another paradigm shift. And, I think what's definitely over is the bipolar world. I think the 20th century was overall the formation of a bipolar world, right? The 20th century was essentially came down to the Soviets versus the U.S. after World War II. So World War I comes. World War I, an interesting set of scenarios or situations, circumstances, whatever, some S word or C word or whatever. Listen to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. Listen to Hardcore History and listen to, I think it was called, the series, it's called Countdown to Armageddon. It's all about the start of World War I. And it's a fascinating look at America in World War I. But one of the things he talks about is that the world at the time was a multipolar world, multiple powers rising, right? Multiple things. That shifted after a series of wars, World War I and II, into a bipolar world, right? So we're starting at 1945 now. 1945, you got the U.S. and the USSR. The U.S. has nukes, right? 1950, the Soviets get nukes, right? So now it's getting real. It's getting real. Korean War starts, right? So that's what we see now. The Korean War begins at the tail of World War II, the largest war ever seen in mankind. The U.S. emerges the victor, right? The Soviets also emerge the victor in the East. The U.S. says, what are we going to do? We're going to draw this down or what? We're going to forgive it? They're like, nah, we got to stop the commies. So we went from stopping the Nazis and the Japs to stopping the now we got to stop the we can't stop the money train. We got to keep it going, right? A lot of people point to the birth of the military-industrial complex over the war for my people, the Korean War, right? 1950. So 5 years after after we nuked Japan, Russia, or the Soviets, get their own nukes. Korea falls to the North Koreans, threatening to go communist. We say, we got to fucking get in. We got to get in there, guys. Because remember, at the end of World War II, the Soviets took over everything all the way down to the 35th parallel, the DMZ, and then let Kim Jong-il, the grandfather of Kim Jong-un, Kim Il-sung. Yeah, Kim Il-sung. Kim Il-sung is the grandfather. Kim Jong-il is the son. Kim Jong-un, who is the current leader of North Korea, is the grandson of the great revolutionary fighter of the Japanese, fighter of the nationalist Chinese, fighting everybody, the Manchurians. He fought everyone, man. Fucking Kim Il-sung, right? Fucking united what became North Korea, became the fucking leader of all leaders. He became the god. And he did it. And a big part of why the people loved him was because he fought on the side of the people. He was a populist, and he fought against the Japanese, fought against the collaborationist Koreans, fought against the fucking nationalist Chinese, fought against everybody, who he decided was against the people, and that's why he was a popular dude. So the States decides we got to get in there. They get in there. 1950, coincidentally, the first desegregated infantry. Yay, blacks and whites coming to Korea to murder the Koreans. Okay, so you got yourself the Korean War, right? Military-industrial complex. Eisenhower's on his way out, right? In 1960. What does he say to America? He says, hey, guys, watch out for this military-industrial complex that I kind of helped to make too. But watch out, guys. Watch out. I'm a fucking general. I know what the deal is here. I know what's going on, right? Notice that was the last general they ever put in office, ever. Who comes next? Kennedy. Kennedy's like, yeah, we got to change things. We got to change how things are done. Pow. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, military-industrial complex. Keep going. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, here we are. Let's fast forward a little bit because, Kennedy, also as good a guy as he was, gets us into Vietnam, all right? Still in Vietnam, 1974. This is now Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon's in office. We're going broke. We can't fucking maintain the military-industrial complex and the war, and they're trying to do all this, and there's a terrible economy thing going on, recession. What do we do? So what do? Nixon, in his infinite wisdom, decides to take us off the gold standard. 1974, gold standard. Goodbye. Why is this important? A lot of people say, gold is an antiquated way of deciding monetary policy. Gold is, an antiquated way of storing wealth. You gotta be more nimble. We need central banks. This is modern 20th century shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom, boom, boom. We gotta be pow, pow, pow. And that's what, people said. I mean, much more eloquently than that, but that's essentially the point. They were just like, dude, we got to manage it. We could be on top of it. Supply and demand. Fuck it, whatever, man. We can get in there. We can fucking manipulate it. We can do this. We can jiggle it like this. And that's what sort of the rise of central banks, the rise of the Federal Reserve, the rise of the petrodollar, the rise of the idea of detaching currency from a stable source of value like gold, right? That was always been traditional, gold and silver, precious metals, and tying it to, I don't know, whatever, just ideas, tying it to the sort of a thing, just a kind of numbers in the sky. And the thing is, the United States is not the first empire to ever do this. Other empires have done it in the past. Rome has done it. You know what I mean? Anytime, I think historically, Carlin, I think, has said this. I don't know. Smarter people than me have noted that when empires decouple their currency from gold in order to raise money for war, it's usually the beginning of the decline of the empire, first of all. Secondly, the beginning of a war state. It's like the reason they do it is because they can't afford it. They can't afford the wars. So they just decide, we're just going to print money, and now we can afford it, and then they just keep going to war without thinking about, what could be the consequence of this. Anyways, here we are now. Where are we now? Okay. We're in 2020. So 1974, decouple the currency from gold, right? 1989, Soviet Union collapses. Whoa, unexpected. Nobody actually expected this to happen. Who knows what would have happened if that didn't go down the way it did. But 15 years later, after we decouple from gold, the Soviet Union again basically fucks itself in Afghanistan, drains itself dry, collapses, has no, there's Chernobyl. You got your Chernobyl. You got a series of unfortunate events that lead to the collapse of the Soviet Union. What does that mean? The rise of the USA as the unipolar power. So this is now, we are almost 39 years after the start of the Korean War, right? The Cold War is over, quote unquote, over, right? That's what we say. We say the Cold War is over and the United States has won it. We are the world superpower. Yeah, we're going to keep this going. So we do. We keep this going until, 2001. 2001. We was attacked. 2001. Never forget. 2001. Those towers fell, but what about Tower 7? Anyways, you know the story. 2001, we're like, the United States, as the world's global superpower, decides it was attacked and it's going to go to war with a couple countries that had kind of something to do with it, but not really. But you know what? Fuck it. We're doing it. Part of the thing is a geopolitical strategy of trying to connect a corridor across Asia look at a map. Look at a map. Look at where Afghanistan is, and look at where Iraq is, and look at what's in between. What's in between it? Iran, the place we want to go to war with over and over and over. Iran. Okay, little plan to surround Iran. You know what I'm saying? So 2001 happened. Boom, we got fucking go to war. Now we expand the war. Keep going to torturing. We had a torture program. We're spending a lot of money. We're starting to fucking come up with drones. Drones are coming into the picture. 2008, what happens? Financial crash. Could it have been because of all of our treasure being spent overseas? Could it have been because of these derivative markets, the credit default swaps, the fucking bad loans, the deregulating of the finance shit from Clinton, where they're like, remember that shit we put into place because of the Great Depression and all the speculating, well, it's fine. Yeah, we could do it anyways. Side note, I am learning to speculate. I'm learning to trade, man. I'm going to be trading. Yeah, Wall Street. Yeah. No, I don't have any money. But I have found that it is something that I've always dismissed, never understood, and decided, you know what? I'm going to fucking understand it. I'm going to at least try. Try to understand what trading the markets means, what all this business finance shit means. That's why I'm listening to the Mad Money and reading the Wall Street Journal and I've learned about Forex, I'm learning about futures trading, learning about day trading stocks, learning about futures, I'm learning about all this, found a way to see if I could work or build up to working as one. So I'm just fucking practicing, on paper, simulated accounts, whatever. This might be boring to a lot of you. All I'm saying is, I'm a hypocrite. No, all I'm saying is, look, there's no good or bad. I think there will always be trading. There will always be trade. There will always be, even if the shit goes down, we're like in the road, people are still going to be trading like opioids for scraps of human flesh. You know what I'm saying? It's no matter what, it's going to still happen. And who knows what the thing of value the dollar might be something good enough to wipe your ass with, and now we're only using Bitcoin, or now we're only using batteries, or now we're only using bullets you know what I'm saying, as currency. Like that's always going to change. And then at some point someone's going to just be rolling in bullets because he's really good at trading bullets for this or that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just human nature. Okay? So I wanted to learn it. Also, I was like, dude, I know fucking idiots who make a living doing this. Why can't I just spend all right. Anyways, moving on. 2008, financial collapse, right? A little too much ring-a-ding-ding at the casino, and the whole thing comes crumbling down, right? 2016, 8 years later, we're kind of coming out of it. Yeah, Obama, 68 years later, Obama, largest transfer of wealth in human history. Sure, he did that, but fine. No, but we like Obama. Obama expanded the war from 2 to 7. Okay, but Obama expanded the National Defense Authorization Act. Patriot Act didn't contract any of the executive powers that Bush got and that he criticized him for. In fact, he expanded them even more, which is fine. Domestic surveillance is going on. It's okay. Whatever. The WikiLeaks, all of this, the whistleblowers, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, and all this stuff. It's obvious that the United States is not cool. Not cool with their secrets coming out. And those secrets are really bad. There's some bad secrets coming out. What happens? Brexit. What? Out of the blue. Nobody Brexit. Fucking Britain, those racist retards, decide they don't want to be in the EU anymore. How could you? You don't want to be a globalist? You don't want to be part of the global economy? You don't want to be part of the global society anymore? You racist retard. Okay, so racist, retarded Britain Brexits as a signal that everybody should have seen that Trump was going to win. The rise of right-wing populism, the rise of anti-globalism, the rise of not just, okay, is there some racism? Sure. Let's give him the racism. But you know what? Racism, let's just call racism a given. It's a wash, okay? Racism is there. It's always there. But let's talk about what else is going on. How do you get a bunch of people to vote? It's not just racism, man. That's old shit. You got to understand. That's one of the cool things about the shift from the 20th to the 21st century. The 20th century, you could use race to get people to vote for anything. They'd be like, the black kids are going to be bussed into the neighborhood. They go, and they all go and vote. You know, you can get them to vote one way or the other. Vote out weed. Weed's illegal because everybody's like, they'll make a black guy look a man in the eye, and the Mexicans will fucking rape your women. You know, and they were like, okay. Next thing you know, they're like, cannabis is illegal. They had no idea they were doing that. You know, you could really fool people back then. You know, with race. Now, I don't think especially after Obama, I think it's obvious. It's like it's not enough. Race is not. It just doesn't make sense. Are you saying everybody voted for Obama just because he was black, and that's why they voted for Trump just because they're racist, just because he's white? I mean, I guess if you want to simplify it that much, but I don't know. I'd like to if we just call that a wash, then look at it. I think it has to do with economics. I think all this talk about economic anxiety or whatever, and the downplaying of that, and also this sort of dismissive disdain of those concerns, like economic. They're really just racist. No, they're fucking dying out there, man. It's like the rural white people, whatever, the working class white people, the opioid epidemic guys, the guys coming back from the wars we're sending them to, all fucking without, and then fucking getting spit on, and actually not even spit. They'd probably love to get spit on. They don't even look at them anymore. You know what I'm saying? They don't get nothing, right? They're coming back. So 2016, Trump. Nobody saw that coming. Now we're 4 years later. It's global pandemic. We had no clue. For all intents and purposes, everything was going great. Economy was soaring. Sure, Trump had fucking pissed China off, but then China was like, yeah, all right, fine. We'll fucking make a new deal, and things are about to be favorable, and everything was going great, and then this fucking virus. Why did this fucking bad? Yeah, 2020. So, anyway. You know, it's almost like a bad script, you know, the way the fucking numbers work out. But here we are, 2020. I say this paradigm shift has been going on since 1950. That's what I think. It's the decline. Well, I would say it's both the rise and decline of the United States as the global empire, right? 1950 sees it pretty dominant, but not 100% secure because of the Soviet Union. So it spends, fucking 40 years fighting it in a Cold War and wins, right? And now it's been about another 30 years, right? Another 30 years of us growing. But then how far can we grow? Is it like Rome? Are we overextended? Can we be overextended? Is that even possible anymore? Does history repeat itself, or are we the one, guys? Are we the special shining city on a hill? Are we that exceptional? Is American exceptionalism so real that we can beat Afghanistan, right? The graveyard of empires? We spit on it. We spit on the graveyard of empires. We spit on it. Can we decouple our currency from gold and not crash things? And not crash, even though everybody else, every other empire has, but no, we're not. It's not going to happen to us because we're that special. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. So, I think we're in a time where we are overinformed. We have the ability to communicate at an instant, except we're in the middle of a paradigm shift and we have no idea. And the next thing you know, the old ways, which are currently the current ways, will no longer be valid. It'll be like Morse code, It'll be like lamplighters. It'll be like horseshoe makers. These giant industries that used to exist because of the way things were. People used to pick up shit. Can you imagine the industry? Can you imagine the collapse of the shit picker-uppers? You know what I mean? Like the amount of people who had to pick up shit back in the day, the horses and all that. That was huge. That was a booming industry. And the more horses there were like, yes, we are rolling in shit. Rolling in shit means rolling in dough. Dough that was associated to gold, by the way. And now, where are they now? If they were smart, they would have gotten into the, car wash business or whatever, tire business. If they were smart, they would have seen that cars are a-coming. So, I guess it's time for us to look and see what's a-coming. What's a-coming down the pipe? What's a-coming, y'all? What's a-coming down the pipe, Ma? All right. I don't know. Nobody can really predict the future. But what I can tell you is that the old ways of looking at things, communism versus fascism, Republican versus Democrat, liberal versus conservative, left versus right, this duality, I think this duality represented the bipolar world that we lived in for so long. And not really for so long, only 40 years. You know what I mean? only 40 years of the past 100 years of the past 20, of the 20th century, only 40 years of it was the Cold War. Yet we live in this bipolar world still. So it's outdated. It's outmoded. That's all I'm saying. It's not flip a coin. It's like a 20-sided die now. You understand? It's not ones and zeros, even though everything is digital and binary. It's no longer applicable. I think the 21st century paradigm shift will be about a multipolar world. It will be about parliamentary procedures, parliamentarism. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's not going to be winner take all. This fucking first past the gate 2-party system, right? Possibly a rise of the third party, possibly the collapse of both major parties, whatever. Some kind of shift in our political system, some kind of shift in the way we organize things, or we double down, and everything becomes, it's binary. Everything is good or evil. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we did double down in 2001, and it's almost 20 years later, and I don't know if it's gonna. We'll see. I mean, this virus is a great opportunity to do that, to be like, it's us against them, us against the virus, whatever. But it doesn't seem to be happening. It's not a clear and present danger. Isn't that a movie? It's not a clear. Is that starring Harrison Ford? It's not a clear and present danger. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't unite in the face of it because it's slow and divisive. Maybe that's really the key. Divide and conquer really is the key. It's got to be slow and insidious. It can't be all at once. Because people then react and unite out of survival. I think it's actually probably psychologically instinctual to do that, right? But if you do it real slow, you creep into it. You have no idea what's going on. No idea. It's the next thing you know, fucking everybody's using cell phones instead of talking to the operator. You know what I mean? Everybody's talking to the operator instead of using Morse code. Everybody's using Morse code instead of using the Pony Express. Everybody's using Pony Express instead of walking, hand-delivering the mail. And you're hand-delivering the mail instead of sending smoke signals, which actually seem to be, it's probably not better. I mean, you could see it from afar, but you also would be like, what is he saying? What the fuck? And then if it gets windy and stuff, you could see the downsides to that. Anyway, I don't know, man. Paradigm shifts, projections. I like to look at this stuff. I look at the economic projections, geopolitical projections, domestic projections. But the thing is, it's a lot of unknowns. What I do think is interesting, bringing it back to World War I, pre-1950, hardcore history, countdown to Armageddon. Check it out. I feel like what we're entering into is the decline of the United States as the global superpower, the rise of other powers. So what we're entering is a multipolar world, and that may or may not be a good thing. Last time we had a multipolar world, we had World War I. We also had all these entangling alliances, and we had the Archduke of Ferdinand being killed, and we had all the Woodrow Wilson being like, we got to get in there, and then the manufacturing consent with the Germans nailing Belgian babies to the walls, and then they're like, we got to stop them, and so all that happened, so that has to happen too. But I'm just saying that's just a possible. Wouldn't it be funny if we just repeated World War I and II again? we just agreed to not nuke. No nukes, but we're gonna run it back. We're gonna do it all over again, guys. Because why not? What's that old thing of history's doomed to something if you don't something? You know what I'm saying. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Rojan Kimcast. This is episode 150. Maybe I'll call it Paradigm Shift. I don't know. Follow me on the Twitter, on the Instagram. Follow me everywhere. Find me online. I'm not doing stand-up comedy. I will probably start putting out videos of me doing comedy that I've, old bits I've done. The bits are dying. But hopefully the podcast can live. Thank you for listening. Oh, and I'm going to be on my friend Caleb's podcast, We're Going to Hell, tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. I think we're going to do a swap cast maybe. Maybe I'll put it up. But anyways, stay tuned for that. And thank you for listening. Goodbye.